In this lesson, we will discuss the plurals of nouns, how to make nouns plural. This can be found in your grammar notebook on page 13. Before we talk about how this happens in Spanish, let's think about how we do this in English. How do we make words plural in English? First of all, what does plural even mean? We've talked a lot about singular and plural in Spanish class. Singular is one, plural is more than one. So taking a look at a few English words, book, chair, circle, pencil. How do we make those words plural, more than one? Books, chairs, circles, pencils. You'll notice we just simply added S to all of them. If you think about some more words in English, some more nouns, and how to make them plural, the vast majority of words become plural in English by adding an S. There are a few words that have some extras or some differences, some irregularities. We talk about things that are regular and irregular in Spanish as well. The word baby, for example, becomes babies. We change the Y to an I before we add ES. Story, again, change Y to an I before we add ES. And then there are some words that are just completely irregular that don't follow the rules at all. So we have one goose, but many geese. One mouse, but many mice. One deer, many deer. One fish, many fish. The words deer and fish are both singular and plural. They don't have a different form. But in general, for English, you're going to add S to a word. The only thing that really will change is if it ends in a Y, you change that Y to an I before you add ES. The others that are completely irregular, you just have to memorize in English. And there will be some like that in Spanish as well. In Spanish, we add S or ES to make words plural, just like in English. We either added S or we changed Y to an I and then added ES. So we're going to do that same thing in Spanish, but the reasons for doing S or ES will be different than the rules for in English. If the word ends in a vowel, you're just going to add S. So if the word ends in A, E, I, O, or U, those are all the vowels, simply put S at the end and it's plural. If the word doesn't end in a vowel, if it ends in a consonant, you're going to add ES. Spanish also has something like our Y changes to an I, but in Spanish it's not Y, it's the letter Z. If a word ends in the letter Z, you're going to change that Z to a C before you add ES. So instead of changing Y to an I like baby to babies, we're going to change Z to a C and still add ES because C is a consonant. So first we need to know if the noun ends in a vowel or a consonant. Remember that the vowels are A, E, I, O, and U. So if it ends in any of those, that's a vowel. Anything else is a consonant. So cartel is a consonant because it ends in L. Teclado ends in a vowel, the O. Mochila ends in a vowel. Mace ends in a consonant. Bandera ends in a vowel. Reloj ends in a consonant. Disquete ends in a vowel. And profesor ends in a consonant. So if it ends in a consonant, we add ES. If it ends in a vowel, we just add S. An easy way to remember this is if it already has a vowel, you don't need to add the E because it already has a vowel. If it doesn't, we need that vowel. So cartel becomes carteles, add ES. Teclado, we're going to add S. Mochila, add an S. Mace, we're going to add ES. Bandera, add S. Reloj, add ES. Disquete, add S. And profesor, add ES. In this next part, you're simply going to write the whole word out. So we have carteles, teclados, mochilas, meses, banderas, relojes, disquetes, and profesores. We have already talked about the el, la, and un and una in previous lessons earlier this year. And we discussed the fact that we would add in the plural forms of those later in this year. I was hoping that we would get to it before Christmas break, but that didn't happen, and that's okay. So the plural of el, first of all, before we do that, this is on page 12. We're going to add in these 4 words. So the plural of el is los. The plural of la is las. You've seen these words attached to some of the nouns that we've had this year already. You probably guessed that they were the plural forms, and if not, now you know. The plural of un is unos, and the plural of una is unas. So fill those 4 words into the charts on page 12. All 4 of these words, el, la, los, las, mean the. In English, we don't have a difference between the book and the books, plural, but in Spanish we do. El libro, los libros. Everything in Spanish, we've already talked about having to match gender, whether you're describing masculine or feminine, but now we also have to match the quantity. Is it 1 or is it more than 1? Is it singular or plural? So in future, you're going to see a lot of things that'll say masculine, feminine, singular, plural, or you may just see the letters MFSP. That means we have to match masculine or feminine and singular or plural. Okay, with a and an or some, in English, a book, an apple, some books, some apples. So there's the singular is a or an, and the plural is some. Okay, so we're going to look at, is it masculine or feminine? Okay. Another quick review here. Remember, the shortcut for masculine is masculine nouns are losers. If it ends in LOSERZ, if it ends in those letters, it is most likely masculine. If it ends in A, it is most likely feminine. There are a few things that don't follow the rules, but for what we're doing right now, if it ends in A, it is automatically feminine. If it ends in LOSERZ, it is automatically masculine. And there are a few that we may have to look up or simply memorize. So cartel ends in L, so that's masculine. Teclado ends in O, masculine. Mochila ends in A, so it's feminine. Mes ends in S, so it's masculine. Bandera is feminine, ends in A. Reloj doesn't have a quick rule for that one. You just have to memorize it. And it's el reloj, it's masculine. Disquete ends in E, it's masculine. And profesor ends in R, it's masculine. So now that we know whether they're masculine or feminine, we're going to look at the fact that these are all now plural. So these are the same words that we had from parts A, B, and C, and we're just adding the articles in front of them. The. So the posters, the keyboards, the backpacks. But we have to decide which one goes with each word, los or las. So carteles is masculine, so it's going to be los. Teclados is masculine, so it's going to be los. Mochilas is feminine, it's going to be las. Meses is masculine, so it's going to be los. You go ahead and try 5 through 8, pause the video, and then restart to check your answers. You should have las, los, los. Same thing for part F. We have a new set of words. This time, we need to write the entire word. We're not just circling, but it's still either los or las. Now, we have 2 words over here, lapices. We have to think about this. If we just take off the S, lapice, that's not a word we've learned. That shouldn't be familiar. That's not even a word in Spanish. But lápiz, L-A-P-I-Z, is a word. And that's pencil. El lápiz, because it ends in a Z, so it's masculine. Ratones is ratón. El ratón. So now pause the video, fill in your answers, then restart to check. We should have las puertas, las ventanas, los horarios, los lápices, los ratones, las pantallas. The ones that end in AS are really, really easy. Las puertas, las ventanas. They have to rhyme. They have to match. So if it's feminine, it should be almost an automatic. So if it doesn't look like it's feminine, it's probably masculine. Okay, same thing with un and una becoming unos and unas. We have to know if it's masculine or feminine. So we have these same words from earlier. We have carteles, teclados, mochilas, and then, so these were the words from the first 4 or 5 activities, and then these words are the words from part F, the one that we just did. So pause the video, circle unos or unas, depending on if the word is masculine or feminine, and then in this part, write in unos or unas, depending on if it's masculine or feminine. They're all plural. So you're deciding if they are masculine or feminine. Pause the video, circle, and write in your answers, and then restart to check. You should have unos carteles, unos teclados, unas mochilas, unos meses, unas banderas, unos relojes, unos disquetes, unos profesores. And then writing out, you should have unas puertas, unas ventanas, unos horarios, unos lápices, unos ratones, and unas pantallas. So again, you have to match the masculine and feminine. So if it ends in A, so does your article, the un or una, or el or la. If it ends in O, Z, N, if it ends in any of the letters that tell us that it's masculine, then your article has to be masculine. Everything in Spanish has to match masculine, feminine, and singular or plural.